my friends. I look at the chat and everybody's here. Everybody's here. And a special greeting to Mr. Omri Cohen. He's given me so much crap about doing the show on Saturdays. And I'm like, man, you know, Saturdays, I don't know. It's a Saturday. And he could never make Saturdays. And then I did the poll on YouTube recently, Saturday or Sunday, and it was like overwhelmingly votes for Sunday. So now we do it Sunday. Omri Cohen can join us. It's a big deal. Everybody say hi to Omri Cohen. Glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're all here. You know that this show is my happy place. And let's just start by giving a quick shout to Metajon. This album, you know, this is his first release as I think as Metajon. Anyway, it came out July 2, and you who were here on the last episode saw that set that he dropped. Oh my gosh. If you missed it, go back and watch the last episode. That set steamed. I couldn't believe it. It was so good. I just made up a word. It steamed. Yeah, the link below to Jonas's Bandcamp page, if you want to support this album, is awesome. Mr. Jonas Schroeter from Germany, Metajon. All right, big welcome to new channel supporters and new audience members. It's great to have you here. This is Modular World. I'm John O'Wells. It's been cool seeing everybody in the Discord server. It's really going off. The conversations are great. If you're not aware that we're on Discord, man. Once again, all the links for the whole show, everything I'm mentioning, is underneath in the description. It's a public server. Come on, join us, say hello. Did you guys see the Snakes of Russia Spotlight show last week or week and a half ago? It's amazing. Another thing to check out if you missed it. All right. Last bit of news is in August, next month's show, I'm working with Bassput Raihan in Indonesia. And it's going to be an all Indonesian show, an Indonesian spotlight show. Unbelievable. He's curated this list of performers. All Indonesia, August. It's going to be great. I was going to save bits of info. No, what? Let's do it now. Just some upcoming events, just because I think they're all important and we should, you know, maybe I'll do it twice. Okay, so first off, next Saturday, this coming up Saturday, a week from yesterday, I'm going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the guys from Broken Circuits, my label mates, and I have thrown this show. I mean, I got to say that really they've thrown this show. Amazing. It's at the Brickyard in Knoxville, Tennessee. And live sets by Broken Circuits. Child of an Extinct God, you might recall, a couple months ago, show 8, Steve Merritt. At the time, he lived up in Portland. Now he's moved to Alabama. He is traveling 4 hours to play this show. What a guy. I'm going to play along with Otorongo and Brian Patton. Otorongo is in... come on, North Carolina, Moog, Asheville. Thank you, Asheville. All right. That's coming up this Saturday. And then Sunday, a week from today, Modulate TV out of Wales. Would you please look at this lineup? You know all these people. All of these people. We know all of them. I'll just give you a moment to take in that lineup. Like, what? All those people are on the same show. It's great. Rob Dixon in Wales, Etch-a-Sketch, putting on another great show. All right, links below, blah, 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 all that stuff, okay? So if you are in the Knoxville, Tennessee area or in North Carolina, which is like 2 hours away, that's nothing. Come and see us. It's going to be a great show. All right. We do have a special guest in the studio today. He didn't want me to do this, but we're going to do it really quick. This is my dad. This is Ron Wells. He's visiting the Modular World studios. All right, off you go. Love my dad. He's here saying hi. So there you go. Proof that I have a dad. Well, I'm going to leave that stuff anonymous. All right. You know what? We have a great show. We're going to do this. Here we go. Thanks for indulging my long intro, but man, all this stuff matters. This is news. Okay. Alexa Momtaz from Montreal, Canada is kicking off our show. I'm a fan. Here we go. Alexa Momtaz is a Canadian music composer, arranger, producer that emulates her love of heavy, sequenced, rhythmic, electronic, orchestral, and industrial arrangements. Whew. Derived from African, European, and American music cultures. She was in the band Skull Fracture that dissolved in 1997, that was playing in local clubs in the 90s and on university radio stations. She's played at many clubs and has collaborated with too many awesome artists. She sent me this list. I'm like, not going to read the list. Amazing. In 2019, she performed each Monday at Eastern Bloc Club called Modular Mondays. And she also provided a soundtrack for the Montreal Animes Festival. She's working on a new album. I love her. Here we go. This is Alexa Momtaz from Montreal.
population as well. It seemed an unlikely development. My imagination was isolation spots at the airport. The country only now under a national state of emergency as Tokyo sees its biggest daily case count yet. Government briefings warn of hundreds of thousands of deaths. Nothing's done. With holidays ahead, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is urging people to avoid travel so the virus doesn't spread from one region to another. Japan's strategy of targeted testing seems to have only shown part of the picture. This public health expert fears the worst is ahead.
We're seeing a surge of the transmission of cases. And my biggest concern is the collapse of the healthcare system.
Yeah, how concerned are you about that?
Very concerned.
Calm. Shortness of breath. COVID-19 is sometimes more than just a respiratory disease. Sometimes not
outbreak, discovered its 6 new transmissions, its third time to test the entire city of 11 million people. District authorities have been told they have 10 days to complete testing, though details are still being discussed. Testing in some areas began this week.
With huge advances in modern science, the vaccine might potentially be ready for COVID-19 within 12 to 18 months. Until then, countries are likely to keep social distancing measures in place, while slowly easing lockdown restrictions to allow the economies to continue. This will hopefully prevent any significant second wave of the virus. If nations decide to use lockdown measures too quickly or too early, a deadly second wave of the virus could again overwhelm local health services, leading to tougher lockdown measures being re-established. World leaders are attempting to prevent the stop-start approach to their coronavirus response, as this may lead to even more harm to their economies. Therefore, the question many health experts are asking is, how can we avoid a deadly second wave of coronavirus?
It's not so much outside you see everything, it's when you close your eyes you see stuff.
Demons and devils.
sounds, drones, soundscapes, unpacks with the help of your creativity. Says populate 20,000 employees.
High dose radiation to the affected the healthy tissues surrounding the affected tissue cancer area.
Alexa,
Hi.
thanks for joining. Oh my God. Like, I think about building out a set like that and all the different movements and transitions and stuff going on. This is like a lot of plates spinning. Well done.
Thank you.
So you are in Montreal,
Yeah.
and you and I have talked a lot about the amazing plugged in Montreal scene going on up there.
Yes, it's pretty similar to Detroit and Germany and yeah.
It's awesome. And you're close friends with Tangled Waves, friends of the show,
Yeah.
who
Yes.
I adore. And we're working, thank you for your help, on producing the Montreal show that's going to be coming up very shortly. Looking forward to that. Yeah. So can you tell us your approach to building a huge set like this and all the visuals, and like talk us through like some of what we just saw. We lost her. She's frozen. Nope, she's back.
Okay. No, yeah, I lost the end of your sentence.
Your video is
Hello?
frozen, but I can hear you. So, oh, okay, there she is. Yeah, I was asking.
Okay.
Talk us through the approach of building a huge set like this, and the visuals, and just the whole thing that you created. It's just amazing.
Well, I have too many devices, so it's not in the 90s where I was confronted. I was forced to work with minimalism. Like I have very few devices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, as you can see, I have many. It's like maybe too many, and there's some on the other side.
Yeah, you've got a pretty serious setup.
So, and I protect them with covers and everything. I don't want dust there. Like I'm a very OCD with the hygiene and.
I'm with you, man. I'm like using like a makeup brush, like daily dusting off
me too.
modules.
A paintbrush to dust between.
Yeah.
And
So
anyways,
tell us about how you build something like this out.
well, I start with my iPad usually.
Mm.
I use a Core Gadget, which is they don't consider it a DAW, a digital audio workstation, but that's what it is. See, with all the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a mixer too in there. It's all there, and I can just add effects per channel, and
Wow.
and I export this into Cubases, add more samples, and the Cubases that was playing there during my show was a set containing at least 65 tracks,
Oh my God.
and each track has either a synth sample, a loop, or something that was a jam. That I was jamming with my other machines, and I was recording it, and then I would just try and synchronize everything into the timeline, because I have my timeline can be in bars and can be in minutes and seconds. So, and I can quantize or unquantize certain samples, because sometimes they don't align to the line, so you have to unquantize it here, to be able to put it just on the kick, for instance. So this is basically, and I have my mixer there too,
65 tracks. Jesus.
Yeah, 65 tracks.
So how are you syncing all? Like, how does the master clock work through that to modular to non-modular? Like, what's
There's no MIDI. It's all done like visually, like just placing with my fingers the wave sample synced with the beat, And I have samples and loops that are pre-recorded with a predetermined rhythm. So I know, let's say if it's 120 BPM, it'll sync with that song or whatever,
So it's all tracked into that software.
Yeah.
I see.
Like I only use MIDI like when I play live. Like I was playing my Roland Ep17 that was synchronizing, like triggering, like let's say 4 synthesizers, like the wave station, the Korg radius, or Korg Micro X, or sometimes it was like the R3 or the Minilogue XD. And I have, of course, the Innovation Mini Nova, which you can't see. It's like on the other side of the room. I have no space to connect everything to my mixer, so I just put them on shelves. It's like a museum a little bit.
Yeah.
And then whenever I need a synth, I just take it, I just plug it, sample it, make a patch, whatever. And
I love it.
And that's what I've been doing for years. Since 2000. Like I kept my original sounds from the year 2000 with all the gears that I've purchased or rented, or because I was too poor before, so I used to rent equipment instead of buying it.
Take it home and sample it.
Yeah, I would do that. I would go to
sounds awesome.
Music stores with a DAT portable machine, and I would just record every C of every keyboard.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then I would resample it into in Sonic ASR10 or PS16 Plus. You know?
You're like, thank you for that. I'll be using that at
I
home.
saved a lot of money that way.
Yeah, right. Of
I
course.
had all the best patches of all the best synthesizers into an affordable sampler.
That's awesome.
Because if you go back in time, Fairlight was not affordable. It was the
Right.
price.
Right.
You know? So then when Mirage came out and ASR10 and even emus samplers were very expensive. So the most affordable at the time, it wasn't Sonic. You know? It's like,
That's so cool.
It was great because it was an American brand. It was like a nice change from always Japanese or German, you know?
Mm-hmm. You told me you're working on a new album. What's going on with that?
I have many unfinished new albums.
Damn it.
The thing is, like, I have 4 jobs, so it's hard to keep track of 4 part-time jobs.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the status like? Are you going to give it like end of the year or what?
Yeah, before the end of the year for sure. I'm like Enya. I'm a slow worker, but when things get done, like that's because I'm very picky and I'm never satisfied with my output. So, like even the video that I made, there's things I didn't like about it. You know, it's just I want to use a better camera because I have one in my phone, but the phone holder just wouldn't fit on my Manfrotto tripod.
Right.
Like wiggling, and I didn't want to record with something wiggly. So.
This is what you need. Grip tape.
Yeah, I should have taken grip tape. I didn't
Grip
think
tape.
I ended up using an old camera, like an old Canon from 5 years ago.
It looked brilliant. Tell us
least
about
it
the
looks
visuals and the lights and all the setup. It looked great. It looked like I don't know, like there was a lot of depth like in the room. It looked like a big spaceship.
Well, it was a lot of work because, you know, it's always difficult to record in low light.
Yeah, yeah.
Without getting grainy results or
Yeah.
pixels. So I did a lot of trial and error, you know. And then, of course, I had that cosmic projector that was projecting something on my ceiling. So there was light. And then all the lights combined, like flashing, doing different things. I have like, you know, lots of remote controls like that are labeled with so I know which one is doing what.
Right.
And I have like a lot of screens. I have another TV in my bedroom too. Like
It looked amazing.
people must have seen my pictures on Instagram. There's lots of screens and machines everywhere.
So I liked how you had all those photographs in the background too, like playing on the TV screen.
Yeah, this was a very tedious thing to do. I had like close to 150 pictures that were all reconverted to full HD in my photo filter program. It's like Photoshop, but more basic, and I just so they would match the size of my laptop, which is full HD.
Right.
I didn't want to have any black lines because I hate black lines. Like even on my phone, you can make that you don't see the notch. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't like things that can disturb your focus. So it's like, I mean, I stretch all my images. Sometimes they look a bit weird because it made me look wider. Like, but I said, whatever. I have no choice. Just so be it. You know, I'll just be stretched. It'll create some kind of a weird effect. You know? And then some images I processed with Paint 3D. You know, 3D, like merge into still photography. And because I was fooling around with Paint 3D like 2 years ago, and I made some art with that, like CD covers. And
Coyle says, I love seeing how everybody works with lights and visuals, all the little hacks. And I gotta say,
you have no choice.
I agree. I love seeing how everybody does it, you know?
Because the attention span is like really diminishing by every year. And also when you're all by yourself, people know everything is sequenced and programmed. So you have to look interesting on stage, you know?
I agree. Yeah, it's a challenge. I was, Drum and Lace played the anniversary show, Sophie, and she had this just amazing visual wall of motion stuff, and I was like, all right, how'd you do the motion? And she's,
Yeah,
oh,
do it.
she pulls up this light. It's like a Christmas light.
Yeah.
Simple Amazon $20 Christmas light. And just the way that it made the shapes on the ceiling, it just looked like really expensive and awesome.
Yeah.
Christmas light.
When I did Modular Mondays, I had the cheapest laser I could find on Amazon, you know, and people were blown away by it. You know, it just made the show more interesting. Otherwise, I would just be like some individual playing like electronics, and you know. I always try to look interesting. I always try to play drums, not just stay static like Kraftwerk, you know, with their laptops. I always do.
I got it into my head that I wanted a projector, and I mounted on my rig here and projecting an image on me while I'm playing.
Good idea.
And I was like, man, that's going to be expensive. I don't have money for a projector. And I look on Amazon, there's $100 one.
Yeah.
And you know, this isn't the kind of projector you're going to have a great movie night with.
That's a projector right there.
See, there we go.
I used this for Modular Mondays as well, and people were like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
What batteries? It's like,
I mean, it's like good enough, right? Like you're
strong.
not right.
It's not the strongest lens,
but it's something. It's like another light source, another creative.
It's better than
source.
nothing. That's for sure.
Exactly. Man, I love what you do.
I use the Pheno, which is a Canadian synthesizer, right there. See. And I used the eurorack that you see there. I need more light, obviously. There's Erica Synth, Qubit, Endorphins, IntelliGel, Planck, Mutant Brain, and I have one LFO. It's pretty basic, but it does the job. And it was making that sound there like this. Everything is patched up to the LFO here. Every module is patched up to this little thing. And it's the only way to because I don't have a mixer in there, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for building such a multimedia set. Like, it just looks great, sounds great. What a great way to start the show.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to see the other shows as well. And thanks for inviting me. And
you're the best. And you know I'm a fan.
I can't wait to see Jnatra's spaceship.
Yep, that's something.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for coming.
My pleasure.
All right, we'll keep in touch about the Montreal show. I'm really looking forward.
Yes. Take care, and my condolences to your mother.
Oh, thanks. All right, off you go.
Bye.
Alexa Momtaz, my friends from Montreal. All right. See, what a great way to start the show. I knew it. All right. Great comments in the chat. I love seeing all these people. Moxie, it's great seeing you, and excited about the stuff you got coming up, shows. Amazing. All right. If you've tuned in late, my name is John O'Wells, and you're watching Modular World. This is it's a good one. All right. Next up, we have Lukas Hermann, who comes to us from Germany. He lives in Western Germany. He studies literature and is a music journalist and a translator for pro audio companies. He loves poetry and minimal ambient house and slow walks on the beach. No, I'm sorry. He's currently obsessed with the music of German producer Stimmung. I probably said that wrong. No, Stimmung, right? Okay. My friends, this is Lukas Hermann. Lukas Hermann, thanks for joining us, my brother.
Thanks for having me. It's amazing to be part of this.
Well, it's great to have you. So what time is it there in Germany? It's got to be like 10 or 11, right? 11.
11, yeah. 11
right.
p.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for staying up. I try to curate for time zones so that I don't have our international friends up too late. You know.
Sure, it's a perfect ending for the weekend. Great start into the week.
Yeah, yeah. So, what a carefully made, patient set. I love hearing this kind of setup and build and deconstruction on the way out. It's just great.
Thanks. Thanks also for all the love in the chat. It's great. It means a lot to get this feedback. I'm not that long into modular, and already being part of this great community brings me joy.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit of musical history, how you got here.
I played guitar or play guitar for a long time, and then I got into synths, partly because of my father, who's a great synth collector, also ambient musician, and he organized ambient sessions here in the area, Western Germany, Ruhr area, for a long time, and collector of synths, as I mentioned. And then I started with DAWs, the usual story, Machine I also owned, stuff like that. And then there was a break because I'm also into literature. And after that, like 2 years ago or something, 2.5, I slowly got back into music and then discovered modular. And that's how I got here.
You know, one thing about modular versus hybrid, I'm so happy to see another great hybrid setup. You know, this is Modular World. Yes, it's modular-centric, but it's never been modular exclusive. And with Alexa's set and yours, I'm just so happy to see hybrid setups and see people kind of just making music, you know, using what you have and what you love and finding a way to creatively mix it. It's just great. Yeah.
yeah, it's all about the strengths of the instruments as
Right.
well. Like a lot of people talked about the bass line. I saw that in the chat, and that was the Pro 3 above the or below. Now it's above behind me, but then below the set, on which I also played the Zero Coast and some other stuff. And that's just an amazing bass synth. And if you need a bass for a set, you gotta get the bass.
Yeah, right.
And that's it. Yeah.
So talk to me about combining frequencies and finding the whole, you know, like you're saying, bass. I just had a great conversation with Nick, Dub Station Zero, who I see in the chat here. And I forget to think about adding a bass. I just kind of, I have sounds going. I don't feel like I need a bass line. I don't think like that. And we recently had a talk about, you know, missing frequencies and having things that ended up, you know, sounding thin. And your set is so rich and beautiful. And I'm sure Nick will weigh in here in just a second and say yes on the bass. How do you approach making sure that your sound has all the frequencies in it to be correctly built out, you know, correctly, quote unquote, you know, built out to sound right?
Yeah, it depends on the vibe you're going for, obviously. In this case, the bass almost, yeah, was needed for two things, I should say, to complement the rhythm and to provide the frequencies. If I'm aiming for more ambient stuff, I tend to go to resampling stuff and pitch shifting stuff down to make a track fuller and not rely on specific bass synth sounds. But in this case, it was just needed because I could not like fill out the whole thing with pads and noise and textures and stuff like that, because all the glittery plinky stuff would have been lost in the way in the process. And that's like the dynamic I had there. Also, I tried to improvise a bit in the second part, and I wanted a steady steady reference to go back to if I'm trying to orientate myself within the track and within my melody and all that. Those are the things. And yeah, if you just want to fill out the frequencies, go for a sine wave. I think like there's nothing wrong with a good sine wave. Also in lead sounds, if you want just an ambient texture.
I mean, your bass line in this track was so much an important part of it to plod through and to kind of, you know, give a bass, pun intended, like a bass, you know, for everything to be kind of, you know, built around. Is a great rhythm. Yeah. Nice work.
Also for the transition, it was necessary. I was also tend to leave stuff in tracks just when they have a overarching function, not just harmonically or something, but for the architecture I'm going for, especially in performances, because only then you can like fixate yourself on every single part and not just on one space in the track.
God, well said. I'm like taking notes here. I'm gonna go back. Hey, you also teach modular courses via Zoom. Can you talk about some of that?
Yeah, one of my pupils, I dare to call him because he's way older and in many cases smarter and wiser than me, also in the chat. It was just an idea that was born out of like the pandemic and being alone at home and wanting to share the knowledge I could gain at home via watching videos and learning the stuff because I had the time at home. Just offered it on various platforms in the internet. Some people respond, and very, very different kind of people, of course, gathering around modular synths, also in that area of learning it. And and via Zoom, it was very much unproblematic in the most cases. I use VCV Rack a lot. Cheers, Omri again.
Absolutely.
Of course, but I make my own patches and demos and stuff like that for specific topics, and then I ask the people what they are interested in and what they want to learn, and then I try to make individual courses for each of them. I only teach one-on-one because I think modular synthesis is such a personal thing.
Yeah,
also, the journey has such a personal tempo and progression that I can't do group courses. I just can't. Imagining it is also already horror for me, and so I try to learn as much as possible about the person on the other side and try to get the enthusiasm across.
God, I'd love to just hang out with you and just hear this voice. I mean, you have this very like calming teacher voice. I could totally picture it working. If anybody wants good modular lessons, Lukas is your man right there.
If you say so.
Well, you're doing it. I mean, you know, I wouldn't trust myself to do it. That's great. Good for you. Any plans on new release, recording? What's going on?
Yeah, there's hopefully an EP coming later this year. Not modular-centric, but modular-inspired. Many central ideas, central recordings coming from modular, also from the Surface you saw there, which I have a love and hate relationship with, but it sometimes gives me just great stuff. And I recently got back into modular ambient, did a few recordings that I will first post on YouTube and maybe later collect to a compilation or something. Yeah. So two areas, as I said, as you said, also minimal house on the other side, minimal beat-driven stuff and modular ambient. I try to oscillate between those two.
Oscillate, pun intended.
Yeah.
Pun received. Wow. When you do release that, would you reach out and make sure that I know that, and we can use that as some show intro music and give you some props?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, maybe I hope it will be released on a small Bandcamp collective label. We are in talks, and they will listen to it, and hopefully I will also get part of their community, which is always good for feedback purposes and learning and inspiring, getting inspired, of course. Yeah, I will definitely let you know.
That's great. Thank you. My brother, thanks for joining us. It's great to see you again. Yeah.
Thanks again so much. And yeah, you do a great job, Jono. I'm sure all the people in the chat will agree.
Oh, cheers, man.
It's amazing what you do for the community, and we love you. As you always say that you love us.
I do.
We can definitely give you that back.
Oh, thanks, man. All right, off you go. We'll keep in touch, man.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. What a gentleman. Quick shout out to Moxie Martinez and also Data Cult. I said during Lucas's set that Moxie was just on Data Cult's show. Adam Filipowski, dear friend of the show, runs Data Cult Audio. Amazing podcast. Kind of a, I think it's been kind of a rite of passage for an artist to be in the modular community and be on Data Cult Audio. So cheers, Moxie, for being on that show. Aired yesterday. Love you both. Awesome. Quick reminder that Patreon members and YouTube channel members, second tier members, get audio downloads of every show. It's a great deal. And if you'd like to support this show, this fiercely independent show, please consider Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button that's like right around there. Or if you're more of a Patreon person, the link's in the description. All right. Thank you so much for joining and watching this show. It's a good one. I told you. All right, we're just gonna we're just going to move forward because I've been just dying to play this set for you guys. It's awesome. Next up is Mr. Jay Mollerskov. He's coming to us from the Milwaukee area here in the United States. All right. Jay is a guitarist, an educator, a composer, performer of electronic music. He studied music composition and technology at the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee in the 90s, and later received a Master of Music degree in instrumental performance on guitar from UW Milwaukee as well. Jay has been an active guitarist in the jazz and improvised music scenes in Milwaukee and Chicago for the last 20 years. He's taught piano, guitar, composition, and improvisation in the Milwaukee area since the late 90s, and now teaches online as well. Whew, this is good stuff. All right, my friends, this is Jay Mollerskov. Jay.
Hello.
I don't know where to start. I mean, that is just like, I could have heard that for hours.
Thanks. I really appreciate all the love in chat. So thank you, everyone.
You know, I hate hearing people talk about bleeps and bloops when you hear about modular sometimes, because I don't think that people understand. I think this audience understands. I don't think that most people understand that doing something like this, the level of understanding of synthesis to make this happen, is just humbling, man. It's just a pleasure to see it happen. My God.
It was fun to put together.
Can you like demystify some of this? Like you and I had a little talk about ciat lonbarde, and you held it up and showed me what the plugs did, and I was like, okay, that's not super insane. But the live patching, the understanding of the possibilities here, that's what I'm talking about.
Gosh, where to start with it?
I know.
So I guess one of the things for me in approaching patching and playing a set with instruments like the easel command and really any of the ciat lonbarde instruments is the fact that you can't sequence out a performance. You can't have like a set thing ready to go and say, this is what I'm going to do today.
Right.
But you can put it in certain territories, right? You mentioned to me before the interview about space.
Yeah.
You know, you can turn the sequencer time way down on the easel and build in lots of space, you know, so you can build textures and territories. And then it's about getting to know the instruments, I think, well enough to nudge them in certain directions.
Right,
you can't say, I want this note to come out or this exact timbre, but you can nudge it in directions to draw certain textures out of it.
Yeah.
And then just like, and this is one of the things I love with these instruments, is it feels more like improvising with other people live than improvising on a lot of other instruments I've played solo, because it's kind of like a conversation with the instrument.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to do things you don't necessarily expect, and then how do you react to that and nudge it back into territory you want, or go where it takes you.
Yeah. I do feel a lot of this playing with Paul Toss's stuff. If you get enough like Air Instruments modules, it's a similar dance where it's a freaking disaster, basically. And it's just kind of accepting that disaster and just kind of listening to where it takes you and kind of dealing with it, you know, and Morphogene to a certain extent can be like that.
Yeah.
Where you can roll back and forth.
I'm pretty new to Morphogene, so, you know, still
That's
getting
right. That's right, actually. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was a conversation with you. I went out and bought one the next week.
I'm sorry.
And a Benjamin. You did that to me too.
Now that one I'm happy to have inspired. But Morphogene isn't cheap. I'm sorry about that one. No, you and I had a good talk about the Benjamin too, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, with the Coco Quantus in particular, you asked about, you know, a bit about approaching that one. And aside from those generalities of, you know, nudging things in certain directions, it's color coded. You know, I think it just makes it look cool. But for the most part, all the blue inputs are FM sort of inputs or control voltage inputs. So you've got all these little pedals on this thing, for example. And the blues all do one thing no matter where they are. The grays are all outputs, etc. So that kind of carries through a lot of Peter's instruments. So if you get multiples of them, and my first one was a plum butter, and I learned the little things on there. So then as you get more of those instruments, that color coding all kind of makes sense more and more as you fit the instruments together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of its own little interface language.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the way that works.
So it looks more complicated than it is, you know, maybe because they've got the, you know, he's put the colored stuff everywhere, so it just looks like a mess. But it's really not. If you know that all these are always outputs, then it doesn't really matter that he put them everywhere.
It's just enough of a beautiful mess where,
yeah.
You know, in looking at it, it kind of messes with your head a little bit, and I appreciate the interface on it where it, what am I trying to say? I guess it maybe makes you think about it a little differently than you would.
Yeah.
I see posts a lot on, various modular groups and things where people are like, well, can't you just do the same thing in eurorack? Like, yeah, you could have all these elements in eurorack, the same thing with an easel, but the interface and the way it's laid out draws certain things out of you as a performer that I don't think I would do if I had modules that did all the same thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Plus, it's really, it's really beautifully made. It's really its own odd little universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you came to electronic music from kind of an academic side.
Yeah. Initially, I definitely did. My, I went into college for music in the mid '90s. Pretty much listening. I think the newest, classical music I was listening to was like Stravinsky and things like that, and got exposed to this whole world of more modern, like, I don't want to say academic electronic music, but like a lot of the early West Coast composers and things like that. Like, I think the first piece I listened to where I was really, and I had heard synths on a lot of music, like pop music and things over the years, but where I was really aware I am listening to a piece of electronic music was Sabatnik's Wild Bull.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was lucky to work in the music library at UWM when I was an undergrad there many years back, and there weren't a lot of people there, so I kind of got paid to listen to records, and they had a huge collection, so I just kind of stumbled on that one and checked it out. And, that, and then Pauline Oliveros and things like that. That was really my introduction to it.
Wow.
They had an ARP 2500, like the big one, in the music studio at the university there, and that's kind of where I learned the basics of synthesis, was on a 2500. And then it was
what an opportunity.
It was a lot of years before eurorack kind of made it accessible to me as a performer, though. So it was something that kind of got put on the back burner. I would do pieces of computer music here and there. And then it was probably 3 years ago I started building and ordering some eurorack modules and started putting this system together. And from there discovered ciat lonbarde.
Speaking of Wild Bull, I got a CD of Silver Apples and Wild Bull on the same CD.
Nice.
Like, what a great, like, if anybody wants to get into Sabatnik or understand any of this madness, West Coast madness, Silver Apples is like the quintessential Sabatnik, right? But
yeah,
then,
it was the first album of, recording, like, album of electronic music.
I mean, it's two long tracks, but still, backed with Wild Bull on the same disc. Come on. It's great. And I think I found it on Amazon. So anyway, it's out there. It's gettable. It's not,
it's good stuff.
It's not like unobtainable. Oh man. So you're going to KnobCon, right?
I am going to KnobCon.
Great. I'm really looking forward to meeting you.
Every year, I live about a little over an hour from there, and every year I'm like, well, I'll just drive back and forth. It's only an hour. And then it ends up being Saturday night, 3:30 in the morning. I'm sitting in the hotel lobby wishing I had a hotel room instead of driving. Right. So I just did it this year, and I got a hotel room.
Good man. I'm really looking forward to meeting you and having a good man hug. It's going to be awesome. I hope you're a hugger.
I was, and I'm getting more used to that again now as I venture back out into public.
I hope you're a hugger. Crickets. Oh, solid. Okay, well, maybe we could have a good, handshake.
Oh no, I mean, I'm normally a hugger. It's all good. I'm just.
But you became a non-hugger because of COVID?
Yeah.
Well, I'm vaccinated. We can have a good hug out. Come on.
Okay. That sounds good.
No, I'm not going to force a hug, okay? I'll just say that I'm available and open for hugs. Oh, man. Speaking of KnobCon, let's just say it. I've been trolling these two guys, the two people who run it, because I want to have a Modular World event at KnobCon. I want to have something. I want to people play it, and they're just totally ghosting me. So if anybody here knows these two, man, tell them to look at their emails. And if it doesn't happen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it at some local club, because we've got to have some Modular World event at KnobCon. All right? It's going to happen, my friends. I don't know how, but I'm going to make it happen. All right, dude. Off you go. Thanks so much for coming. I could talk to you for hours about this stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this for months.
Me too.
I really appreciate it.
Me too.
And again, thank you to everyone in chat for all the love. It's
you're a good one, Jay.
Take care.
All right, sir. Bye. Jay Mollerskov. See what special stuff happening here? I'm telling you. All right. Speaking of Modular World events, all right, I'm going to revisit this. Come on, Jono, you got this. Okay. This coming Saturday, a week from yesterday, I will be in Knoxville, Tennessee, a short 2-hour drive from the amazing modular scene in Asheville, North Carolina. And this is not going to be streamed. It's going to be live. I am going to record it, so I'll do some kind of a show about this event. My friends, Broken Circuits, who live in Knoxville, have built this show. And Child of an Extinct God, you might recall, he played on show number 8. Steve Merritt lives in Alabama. He's driving 4 hours to play this show. Also Oterongo and Brian Patton. We have DJ sets. If you live in the Knoxville area or in Asheville, I think you got to make this show. Love to see you. Love to hang out. Be great. I'm going to have to build some patch. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Also, one day after, next Sunday, week from today, Modulate. Please, oh my God, look at this lineup. Again, I talked about it earlier. You know all these people. Many of them are in the chat. What a great lineup that Rob Dixon and his friends have made for us. Wow. Okay, there you have it. Upcoming events. Also, David Soto, Sign Mountain, you're in the chat. I know that Freak Boutique is happening this week. I should have hit you up on those dates. I'm sorry. I think it's Tuesday. That's going to be a good one too. All right. Hope to see you next Saturday in Knoxville. It's going to be amazing. Okay, and we talked about KnobCon. Going to be there. Going to make something happen. And also next month, August, is the Indonesia show that I've been yapping about for a couple months that I'm planning with Baseput. It's going to be all Indonesian artists in August. What a show he's curated. It's going to be killer. All right? So, let's move on, okay? If there's a barn that's going to burn, this is the barn burner. Oh my God. Jonathan Garcia performs as Jnatra here in LA, a couple hours north of me. Here we go. Jonathan started doing music production a year ago during the pandemic and built a studio in his house. He grew up skateboarding, playing guitar, and later got into breakdancing and DJing. Man, where were you in 1984? We would have had a blast. I had my cardboard, head spins. All right. He started as a designer for skate companies. He owns an apparel and clothing business. He uses recycled fabric. He owns several brands and several licenses, creating products for various retailers. He's been doing that for 15 years. He is releasing a single on Friday, the 16th, this coming up Friday, called Space and Time, which was a collaboration with an artist called Threadmill. He's going to Iceland in September to record some live performances in his first official full-length record at the end of the year. Here we go, my friends. This is Jnatra. My man, I knew this would melt the faces. I knew it. You knew it.
I wasn't sure.
Oh, come on. I mean, you texted me that photo of that location and like, I'm going to shoot my set here. And I'm like, where the fuck are you? I'm like, he's like, oh, it's just an Airbnb. You can rent it. It's out in Joshua Tree.
Yeah. Did you research the
I did.
backstory on that? Yeah.
I did. Yeah, that's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a portable ski chalet that was built in the 1960s, I think. And I think they made like 85 of them. There's like 19 in the US, but they have one that was restored and you can rent it as an Airbnb in Joshua Tree.
Amazing.
And it was funny because I actually booked it before I even bought my first, anything modular. And
it was that booked out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I was actually just going to go there to start writing, because prior to that, I was like getting back into music and playing guitar. And I was like, I'm just going to go there and spend a few days in this spaceship and write music. Kind
Of course.
comes out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
to a spaceship, write some music, as you do.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Everyone usually does that.
Of course.
But yeah, and then as I started making videos and doing live performances, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I could definitely do something with, doing something with the lights, or it's just such a cool environment.
Yeah.
But the patch that, I make the patches, there, and I'll spend a few days, in the environment and recording field sounds and trying to incorporate that into the, I'll use my bitbox or whatever and sample that. But yeah, it's been fun.
I mean, you know that I like doing these remote performances, and I feel like you've kind of, I mean, if this is a competition, you just kind of killed me. Right? Like, I see your storm sewer, Jono, and I raise you with a freaking spaceship. God.
No competition here.
I mean, you just crushed it.
All,
there is no competition because you just crushed it.
I mean, I've always been into, the environment with the performance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I've definitely have been checking out your videos. And I'm definitely
no.
By that,
I was not fishing. No. This is about you. So what's next? You've got your first full-length record coming out at the end of this year?
Yeah, I'm working through it right now.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
It's been a process. It's just been bits and pieces. I've been recording it over the past year, and now I'm just trying to piece it all together and figure out the flow for it, and have a ton of friends that are helping me. That's been the coolest part, I think, about this past year, was that it opened the world up musically to me, in this space, because everyone was having to work virtually.
Yeah.
So it's been so cool because obviously, especially in this environment, everyone's so supportive, and will help you. And I'm relatively new to this, so I'm still kind of learning all of my all my modules and learning patches and trying to figure out what works best for me. And sometimes I'll go to the hybrid model, sometimes I'll just do straight modular. It's just kind of depending on what I'm feeling at the moment. And I think that's the same with collaboration. That also helps me break out of the mold. And I think that's what's been interesting about modular is, I was just thinking about, because I was looking at everyone's sets and how diverse, everyone is, and everyone's so good on the show, and then it helps you, especially working in this format, because I typically, I'd played music prior, and I would go, verse, chorus, verse, you kind of start to think structurally. And what's cool about it is that, especially this past year, I couldn't really jam with anyone. So it's almost like it became my band, and, I would have to randomize a lot of the voices. And based on that, then I would almost play more so I was almost the drummer for that band. So I feel like a lot of the sets I'm doing, the movement is, or what makes it feel like it's a different part is usually from me, like filtering down the drums, or, putting the bass line in, then bringing it out. But I don't want to control the other stuff, it's because there's really cool bits that are randomizing, and I try to run that all, the only thing that I'll maybe sometimes try to control it so it feels like one is I'll run it through, a side chain, and so that's, it's kind of all pumping at once. So it kind of feels like there's a continuity there. But I also like it when it doesn't feel like there's continuity, it's just wild, and I'll run the pulsar and just throw it on, and it's not even to a clock sometimes, and it's just hitting, and I'll just kind of filter that in and out. sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. I guess I was getting lost in the process
It's great.
here, but
It's great. Process is like, I think that's a lot of the beauty of these little talks and chats, is just to hear people's process. You know, tangents are great, you know, just like you're talking about in the randomness of how how you're doing it. I think that tangents are great for the same reasons, you know.
I think that's why I like it. I don't think very linear, you know, my brain tends to web out a lot. So
Yeah.
I think that's what's so cool about it, is that this idea will then trigger this. And I'm like, oh, you know, I gotta patch this to this. And it's almost like it becomes like a mission to see how, you know, can I fill every hole on this board, you know? And I mean, sometimes you don't want to do that too. You want to keep the space, but yeah, it's just, it kind of, one idea triggers the next, and then because it's looping, you just get this really cool outcome that you weren't expecting.
Totally.
And you know, I forgot who had mentioned it on the show, but someone mentioned earlier that how you can't really approach the set with, you can kind of have general ideas of where you want it to go.
It was Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Jay, right? Yeah, and but you can kind of try to lead it into something, you know. So but it's so funny because all that you know, that spaceship one that I was writing actually started off as a super ambient, like minimal thing, and then it just became really, you know, I don't know why, but as it started progressing, it just became really gritty, and you know, it had like that big kick, and I don't know, it just felt right to me, you know, in the moment. So I just kept going with it. But initially, I had thought, oh, I'm gonna do this really airy, ambient kind of, I don't know, can go with this like space Joshua Tree openness feel, and it, you know, it just turned into something else, which I still liked, but it surprised me how it came out.
It's so awesome. As you're talking, Patrick just writes in the chat that Airbnb is booked through January 2, 2023.
Wow.
Right now.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Hold on. Moxie just booked it. She says, I'm there on Jan 3.
Yeah. Someone's got a book. You know, it's so funny because, you know, a lot of the, you know, music people were hitting me up on Instagram because I was posting, you know, snaps about it. I always, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I'm here. And they were like, oh, like, where is this? How do you rent? You know, so
right.
I feel a lot of people, it just, I don't know. I hope that they open up more dates and stuff because it's just so fun. What was cool about it too, you know, it was super interesting inside that, you know, because you sleep there and they have this old, it's like the 2-in-1 like TV VHS thing.
Oh yeah, right. You were saying about the tapes.
Yeah, and they have like, you know, all these old collections of Alien movies. So I was watching, you know, Alien Part 1 and, you know, on VHS, and it was awesome. I feel like all of those weird experiences kind of helped shape, you know, what I was doing there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been interesting too, you know, I especially just kind of being away and writing on my own and without distraction. That's, you know, that tends, you know, because I gotta be in the rhythm in order for me to have something come out that I wanted. You know, it takes a while, you know, especially in the modular side, like one, you know, the knob is so finicky, right? You tweak one thing and it's just everything changes. So, you know, it takes a while to kind of find that rhythm where you want it to go.
Well, thank you so much for sharing it on this show. Thanks so much.
Oh,
it's like Modular World was where this got shown first. Thank you.
Oh, I felt like I just wanted to do justice.
Oh, it's such an honor. It's great. And listen, man, I'm really looking forward to meeting you down here because as I've threatened and promised, Modular on the Spot San Diego is going to return in August.
Awesome.
And we're just a hop, skip, and a jump or whatever down. So, yeah, it'll be really good to meet you, man.
Same. Yeah, I'm excited. Excited to see people again.
Man, oh man. Don't get me started. I'm going to cry. All right. Off you go. And thanks so much, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Jonathan Garcia is Jnatra right here. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Well, my friends, we have come to the end of another great show. Patrick, while you're still here, let me ask you, can I release the information that might happen at the end of July? Just say yes or no, and I will say it or not say it. Okay, couple reminders. Moxie Martinez was on Data Cult yesterday. Definitely check that out. All right, this Tuesday, Freak Boutique, Colorado, great show. Coming up this, I'm losing track here. Coming up this Saturday, I will be in Knoxville, Tennessee, doing a Modular World show there, performing on that. Patrick says, I suppose. So that means that it's real, dude. Once I say it. I will be in Washington, D.C. at the end of July, playing Modular on the Spot, D.C. POB, Patrick O'Brien, has taken up Mott's D.C. He's recently moved there, broke all our hearts, moved from L.A. God damn it. Anyway, he's in D.C. now, and he just right away started Mott's D.C. I will be playing that at the end of July. If you're in the D.C., New York City area, to come by, say hello. Yeah, and again, this Saturday in Knoxville. So if you live in Asheville, it's like 2 hours. This is like San Diego to LA. It's nothing. All right, hope to see you. August is the Indonesia show here on Modular World, and that is where I will see you next, my dear friends. A big thank you to Alexa Momtaz, Lukas Hermann, Jay Mollerskov, and Jnatra. What a great show. All right? If you would like to support this show on Patreon or on YouTube, the links are below, or the join button on YouTube is right there. And I just, I really appreciate everybody being here and supporting this fiercely independent show. I will see you, my friends, in August for the Indonesia show. And we're signing off. We'll see you soon.